Okay, so you saw in the last video how we've got this stuff set up, and I am going to set up some the first scenario that we have in our commercial setup is this will be option 1. We're going to create this first, and then we're going to create a second design option to create a second option to choose from. So in this option we have a few more offices and fewer cubicles. In this one we have a lot more offices laid out and fewer cubicles. I think I said that wrong the first time around. So this is cubicles and with just a couple offices, and then we got a lot more private offices in this one with a different exterior sitting area as well. So here we've got it rounded, and in this option it's square. Okay, so we'll go through the process of making this one first, and then I'll show you how to make the options. So let's go to level 1 phase 2 proposed, and I'm going to turn off the floor in that as well. And we're going to want to add the elements to that one, similar to what we did before. And I'm just realizing now that this wall gets demoed from about, well, this wall and this wall get demoed. So I'm going to go to the demo and demolish that from here. We'll demo that, and we're going to have to also demolish the columns there and there. I think we're going to be able to keep, you know what, let me back that up. Let's do that again. So I want to demolish from here to here, so I'm going to split this as well. And it looks like this wall is not going to be demolished, so I'm going to set that to none. And this wall is not going to be demolished either, but the door is, so that's going to become a new conference room. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that that wall will be demolished in order to create a slightly smaller office. So now what I want to do is demolish this wall here and a couple of these columns, and so a beam would be designed in and all that jazz. You get that. So then when we go to our proposed, this is what we're working with right here, and we have a new wall coming in on the end of this wall. Let me just see what type of wall we're using here. 6/8 of an inch partition. So I got a new wall coming in at 6 and 1/8 inch partition, and I want to draw that wall as a rounded wall, and I think I want to use start end radius. So it would be start end. And then we can pick a radius like that. I think that looks about right. And then I'm going to move this wall or demolish this wall. So let's go back to the demo view and go to modify and demolish that wall too. So when I go to proposed, I don't have a wall in there, and I'm going to add a new wall, same size as this one, I guess, and I'll put that right in close to the doors that I have there. So that's just going to allow me to extend this wall here, and I just want that to come in at the end of this one. Perfect. Okay, so that's going to create that new seating area. Oh, actually, I think what happens is we demolish this too. So let's go back here, and we'll demolish that door in the front. We don't need both of those openings, and that way we can take and move this wall here all the way over to here, which puts that almost in front of the first door swing here, like it's matching the setup, right? So see that we now have the similar configuration there. Just pull that over a little bit. That's making a little bit more sense to what we are doing. So I think that's what happened down there, is that one door got demolished. Okay. So I'm using that as reference. Now I would just go ahead and fill in this information based on the handout. Fill in all the new walls that will create the offices, and then you've got a bank of shelving over here. So I'll come back with that stuff finished. Okay, so here's option 1. Oh, I forgot these chairs here, so we'll just add those in there as well. So we just have, looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll put in one of those coffee tables. So I found one of these coffee tables here that worked. I think will work fine. Let's see if that fits. That fits. All right, so you just, we'll make that layout a little bit better, but there's our first option. So let's take a look at what this looks like in our proposed. So everything's looking good here. We have our demolition showing up here. We have our proposed, our first option. Well, we want to create a second option that includes some changes, but we don't want to have to do that by saving this whole file and starting it all over again. So under the Manage tab, under Design Options, we want to create a new option. So we have option 1, which will be our primary view option, and we're going to create a second one. Alright, so we have the option 1 primary set, and we're going to create a new option, option 2. And I don't see any reason why we need to make changes to the names, so I'm going to hit close for that. Under phase 2 proposed, I'm going to, not the 3D view, but I will do that with the 3D view in a minute, but I want to start off with the level view. I'm going to duplicate this view and call this phase 2 proposed option 2. Whoops, let's make that say option, if I can spell it, option 2. Okay. Now what we have to do is take the objects that we've built here as our option 1 and put them onto the correct option set. So I'm going to notice when we hit options, we have option 1, which is, it says primary next to it, and option 2 is not primary, secondary, I guess. But all this is doing is just we can set either option 1 or option 2 to primary, and I'm not sure why one has to be primary and one has to be not primary, but the point I'm going to make here is these things we have drawn are not attached to option 1 or option 2 as of yet, and I have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select everything that is the new stuff. So you can do it this way. We can hold on Control and I can grab everything, including that wall too, right? So I grab everything like that, and then I decide by going under Manage which set to put this under. So I'm going to put this under, I'm going to add to the option 1 set. Okay, so this is telling me I think this conference room is giving us, this conference is an array set, group set, so I need to fix that, because I noticed when I made my conference table it got created as an array group, so I'm just going to end up exploding it and I'll add it that way. So let me see if I can fix that, and I'll get back to you on how to fix it. Okay, I think I fixed this situation. I didn't realize I also, when I made my shelves here, I grouped the array And so these shelves weren't added before, and I can tell these shelves aren't part of my option group because notice as I try to select anything that I included as the selection set for option 1, it's not selectable. And the reason it isn't able to be selected is that we're looking at the main model right now, and everything I put under option 1 is now, think of it as like a grouped, frozen set of objects that I can still see, okay? And they're grouped as option 1. These did not get included, so what I did was I ungrouped them because when I arrayed them I ended up grouping them accidentally. So I ungrouped them, and now I should be able to select these 4 shelves, and I can go under Manage and also add those to my option 1 primary. Now I can't select the shelves either. Okay, so if I wanted to edit anything in here, the only way for me to edit anything or make any changes to option 1 is to use the Pic To Edit tool. If I click on Pic To Edit and pick anything in option 1, it's going to notice it grays out everything else, and it just shows me all the elements that have been placed in option 1. So it's like opening a block editor and editing those things, okay? And then down here you can see that I'm editing option 1, and up here it's showing that I'm editing option 1. If I switch that back to main model, then we're back to our normal view and I can't select anything in here, okay? So what I want to do now is I want to create, in this view here, this level 1 phase 2 proposed option 2, we have this one that's set to show. I want to set it to show across from options. We have an options up here somewhere. Where is it? Visible in option is set to all right now. I want to set that to just option 1. Okay, so only option 1 is going to show. Notice that nothing went away. And remember that we're in level 1 phase 2 proposed. You know what, just to make this a little bit less confusing, I'm going to rename this proposed option 1, which is what we drew first. And so visible in option, we want to set that to option set 1, okay? For level 1 phase 2 proposed option 2, I want to set visible in option to option 2. And when I do that, all the stuff that was earmarked for option 1 has disappeared, and now I can begin drawing my option 2 layout to match what's in the handout. And we're going to be able to add a new view to the sheet. So actually, before I begin drawing my option 2 information, because this is saying to show option set 1, option 2, I want to switch my active design option to option 2, which grays out everything. So now any elements I add while I'm in this phase or while I'm in this option 2 setting is going to automatically be included in option 2. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with option 2 stuff superimposed onto option 1, because if I went ahead and just started building in main model, anything I build here in main model is going to show up because it's not being separated as option 2. So I'll keep a few things to show you what I mean. Let me just draw this wall here, the new square wall, to show you. I'm going to draw it in main model, and I'm going to draw the new wall from here to here. Oh, it's not supposed to be a storefront, so let's make that a 6 1/8 inch wall. From here to, I think it's somewhere around, let's say it's about that long, and then it's going to come down to about here, come across to here this time, and then come straight down, okay? And I believe that's happening because there's another wall that's running into that. So let's just put that wall in about the same location. We'll see what happens with that. I think this is because we have the options superimposed on top of each other, but don't worry about that for now. So these things right now, because we're on the main model, that's why it's doing that, is it thinks that we're going to end up having these walls run into our option 1. So what we have to do is take these items and put them on the correct option. We're to add them to option 2, and then the problems go away. See that? Because this cannot exist with option 1 because we're picking one or the other. So it's an either or situation. While this was on the main model, it was a conflict. As soon as I put those things on option 2, it was not a conflict. So in order to not have that happen while you're drawing, if you switch to option 2 here and then start adding your information, then you're not going to see those problems come up. Okay? So this has a slightly different sized conference room. It's longer and narrower. So we're not going to be using the existing walls there. So I'm going to match my wall sizes. I'm just using a smaller interior partition that isn't structural. I don't really care what you use for wall thicknesses here, as long as you're getting this about the same as what we have and you're understanding the whole design phases and processes. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to give that maybe let's try 16, and we'll match this wall with this one, make that about the same, and looks like we want to make that, yeah, that seems about right. Maybe it's a little bit narrower than that, so let's make that 15, and we'll make this 15. Okay, so we'll add the door just like we would. We're going to add all this information, and when we hit main model, it's gonna go back to showing our options. Okay, so I will come back and show you this completed. Alright, so there's our option 2 layout, and I'm done adding everything that I want to add to option 2, so I'm ready now to switch to main model. Now because I have this view set to visible and option set 1, option 2, I'm only seeing the one option available in this view. When I go to my sheet for phase 2, I want to see in this one, this should be option, yep, so this now says phase 2 proposed option 1. I want to kind of shove everything over here. Let's make some room, and I'm going to add next to it my option 2 proposed. There's option 2, and I want that to line up, so there we go. Okay, and then I want to create a 3D view that matches that, so I go down here to 3D view. I'm going to rename this one proposed option 1, and then rename or duplicate it, and then rename that second one option 2. And in the second one, which is what we're looking at here, let's turn off the floor, and see how we're seeing both option 1 and 2 superimposed on each other right now, just kind of making a mess. In this one we want to set the visible and option 2. That cleans that up, and whoops, I want to go up quite so far. Let's see if we can get that to show a little bit. Oh, so I think our ceiling heights are a little low on this. Is that what it is? Why are we... Oh, you know what I did is I think I made all of these walls only go to 4 feet tall. So I've got to fix that in option 2. So I can go into Phase 2 Proposed Option 2. I want to switch to my Option 2 settings, select one of the walls, select all instances in Active Option, and switch them to Level 1 and then up to, I actually want them unconnected, and go up 9 feet. And I want all of these. Let's see if I can select them all this way. Looks like I have to select one type at a time. This is unconnected, 9 feet. And this should be the same wall type, unconnected, 9 feet. I think that's all of them. So let me go back to my main model, and if we go to that sheet and look at it again, now all of our walls are going up full height. Oh, I've got to set the view to visible option 2, much better, and I can close the view. Oh, while I'm in here too, I might as well turn off my section box. Perfect. Okay. Oh, and the whole reason I waited in here, turning off the floor. So I know we made the floors in the original. I wanted to do that to show you how you could create a an existing floor system in here, but it's showing up better when we turn them off. So in the next video, oh, I'm sorry. This was the I dragged and dropped the wrong one in here. I think this is option 1. So this option 1 view should be set back to option 1. Yeah, because that should match that. And then I should drag and drop the first floor phase 2 from the 3D view into this view. There we go. And so this one should be showing your alternate option. And so you'd do the same visibility and graphics settings. And I would go ahead and tilt these views so you get them maximized, so you can really see what you're looking at. And then in the next video, I will show you how to create a schedule that will control what we have going on for this project. So take a look at that next.